am joining you on the week that Nigel Farage has stood down as MP, kind of hoping that this investigation that's going on to his 5 million quid's worth of pocket money would disappear. And I don't know about you, but I was lucky to get a five of his pocket money. Never mind, don't even think about £5 million. That's a whole other planet. So he stood down only to stand again immediately, which means everyone serious is just going, no, I'm not getting involved in that. I'm not playing that game. So last time I checked, he's up against a bin, a fox, and somebody called Fox. All we need is a candidate that promises to screech at 3 o'clock in the morning every night. And we have gone full Fox. And on top of that, there's a bunch of people that were on the telly once having a go as well. Or at least they claim they've been on the telly once, as they show you a clip of them in the background of a Northwest Tonight report from 25 years ago for the umpteenth time. They really do say summer is silly season in politics. I'm seeing a few messages coming in asking about how Jenny's doing and if she's improving. I can share with you that she is slowly getting better, but she has been up to something, and I will share details of that in just a few minutes' time. Also seeing on the messages, one from Sandra, who has tipped the show. Thank you very much. It's not something we require you to do. We don't even ask you to do it, but we do love it when you do, because it helps keep the show going and ensures our cat is well fed in many, many different treats and many, many different options, which is the only way we can keep her happy. We've tried numerous other possibilities and it just doesn't work. And talking about not working, if you've been paying attention, you may have noticed that Britain isn't looking quite so lush and green at the moment. It's almost like something out of a desert scene in a movie when you're out there. It's all very sandy. It's all very, I don't want to say sepia-toned, but it's starting to feel a bit sepia-toned out there, isn't it? And, you know, with the potholes as well, not only could you film desert scenes, you could film scenes that were on the moon as well. You know, it's all possible here in Britain. Just don't go too heavy on the pyrotechnics or you'll end up setting the place alight. A good chunk of it is on fire already, isn't it? So somebody's already been setting it alight, haven't they? And in the middle of a heat wave as well, you would have thought they could at least wait until winter. And talking about waiting, we have been waiting for you to get in touch, because the way it works here on this show is we ask you a question and we offer you the ability to send carrier pigeons or standard address envelopes or whatever to say. You could even try faxing. We don't have a fax machine, but you could try it. Ways of getting in touch with us throughout the week, and we share your responses to the question we asked. And last week we asked, what is the most memorable thing you've seen on public transport? And a few of you have been in touch, including Deirdre, saying, great wee NASA last night. Especially lovely to see our cat passing through the show. One record that was played was Summer in the City, which brought back happy memories of my courting days when my then boyfriend, now husband, was driving me home Sunday evenings to Forest Gate, East London, and this record was playing on the radio. He lived in Teddington, and I wonder if the relationship would last because of the distance. But it did, and we celebrate our 57th wedding anniversary on the 2nd of August. Wow, congratulations in advance for that one. And also being in touch on that in this topic is Louise.
My friend and I were travelling on an early morning train to go on a few days holiday.
Okay.
And there was a group of young girls all on the train having a great time, drinking, laughing, carrying on. They were obviously going to a hen party.
Makes sense.
But a few of them had their rollers in. And they weren't just little rollers, they were great big rollers. And they were all having such a lovely time. But it wasn't the lovely time they were having that was memorable. It was the fact that they had the rollers in and they weren't a bit bothered, and everybody kept looking and having a giggle. But they were really enjoying themselves, and it was so memorable, and it's always stuck in my memory. Take care, stay safe, and keep cool, and I'll catch you later.
I'll be honest with you, Louise. When you said rollers there, my mind went to two places. One of them is when you see them in the hairdressers and they've got all the rollers in their hair. And that's probably what you're talking about there. So getting their hairdo ready for a night out. But I also went down the Bay City Rollers Shang-a-Lang idea and was sitting there going, why are they still running around with tartan gear all these decades later? That is a mystery of the universe. You may have noticed I've not got Jenny with me this week. Unfortunately, she's been struggling a little bit on the medical side, but she's also been up to something else. She is on the mend, but she has also been up to something else. She's been attending the World Santa Congress. Yeah, it's held in the Danish city of Aalborg, and dozens of Santas, Mrs. Clauses, and elves from around the world all turn up in Denmark in the middle of summer. I assume Jenny's there not to pretend to be Santa, but there to get her list in early, to make sure that what she asks for Christmas will definitely be available and delivered to her. But that got me wondering, when have you seen something that's just out of place? Because it just doesn't make sense in my head that you would have a Santa Congress in Europe in the middle of summer. It just doesn't add up. It just doesn't compute. I'll admit, we are at the time of year when you're starting to see some of the Christmas things creeping in. I mean, seriously, today, it's 12th of July, 2026. And earlier today, when I was out and about in the shops, I saw a rug with Christmas elves on it saying Happy Christmas. I'm not making up. It's genuinely available for sale, not the stuff they couldn't get rid of last year. This is this year's stuff turning up ready for Christmas. So it got me wondering, rather than focusing on the big C, what is the most out of place thing that you've ever seen? Because that just feels out of place to my mind. It makes no sense. We're in the middle of a heat wave. Half of Britain is literally on fire. Why are we even looking at this stuff at this time? Who's possibly buying it going, I wish it's a bit colder. If you just buy some Christmas tat, it'll make the world feel a bit colder. So yeah, I want to hear from you. Best way to get in touch. Phone, text or WhatsApp. My number is 07367 85 85 47. That's 07367 85 85 47. I do try to keep up with your messages that have been coming in on the live chat and touching on all sorts of subjects, including a place called Strogumber. Apparently, if you're there is a specific tea room that you want to go visit. I'll be honest with you, when I heard the name and I saw it flying past in the messages, I thought it was a made-up place. I didn't realise it was real, but apparently the place to go is the Rocking Horse Cafe near Strogumber Station, and it's got a lovely garden if you want it there as well. And, well, let's be honest, we're all struggling with the, 30 plus degree heat. It's backed off a couple of degrees now, but the weather's just broken in Britain at the moment, isn't it? We're just all not sleeping at the moment. I mean, I'm seeing a message here from PG31Cat saying, greetings from a sunny and warm Belfast. That does not compute in my head. Although the thing that does compute is thank you very much, PG31Cat, for the tip. We do love to see your tips coming in. We don't ask for them. We don't like to beg for them, but it does help keep the show on air and help keep our cat fed in treats. And she's very particular about her treats. But if we're talking about weather, it's warm and sunny in Belfast. It's been warm and sunny here in the Midlands. It literally looks like you could film desert scenes out there in the Midlands. It's dusty. It's all a bit brown, except for the bits where it kind of gives away who's been watering their garden or who's been looking after the lawn, because they're just little spots of green amongst the dry desertness. It's really, really obvious. It's hit that point now. But then I'm also seeing things that apparently there's a bit of fog on the open golf, as Sandra Owens was reporting. That's blowing my mind as well. So it means it's really, really hot and really dry in most of the country. And there's like random little patches where it's just cold, weird, and yeah, it's broken. As PG31Cat says, for the first time ever, thought phew, it's hot in Belfast. Yeah, it feels broken. It doesn't feel right, does it? And we were also chatting about the topic of what's the most out of place thing you've ever seen. I guess we've basically touched on that, haven't we? But we also had another comment come out on that one from Argonaut22 saying, seeing Easter eggs in the shops after Christmas, but before New Year. Well, if you pay attention and you end up in the shops on Christmas Eve, which is when about 99% of men go shopping, but if you go shopping on Christmas Eve, even if you don't need to buy anything, go into the shops and you will see the cages starting to come out for all the stuff that's going out post-Christmas, and there will be Easter eggs in there. And I'll admit, I have been the sort of person that in the run-up to Christmas has seen Easter eggs on the shelves and gone, oh, that would be a brilliant gift, and given the gag gift of cream eggs to somebody for Christmas. I have done that, I'll admit I've done it, and I'd happily do it again. And I'll be honest with you, the weather is, knocking me off kilter. I'm struggling to operate at this temperature, although I'm slowly getting used to it, and I think by the time we get through all the heat waves, it'll drop back below 30 degrees Celsius, and I'll be like, it's proper chilly. I need to put a big parka on at 20 degrees, just walking around the house with a big parka. I can see it coming, although the temperatures aren't just messing with us, they're messing with the animals as well. As I've got not one, but two separate stories of people leaving their windows open so their houses can air out and they can not sweat and drip too much. And a couple of wee critters have been quite sneaky in that moment. A couple of pigeons have then snuck into the house and built a little nest, either, as what happened with one woman, in her bathroom on top of a makeup bag, or with another where it was on top of a bed in a spare room. Suddenly, that is now a pigeon nest. Now, I don't know about you, but if that happened in my house, I'll be honest with you, there would probably be some pigeon pie on the menu before the week is out. Although it did remind me of somewhere I was sent with work once where the pigeon droppings were so thick, it was like walking on ice. And I'll be completely honest with you, if I'd slipped over at any point there, those cloves would have been burned in the car park. They would not have been coming home with me. So thankfully, I managed to stay upright. Pigeons aren't the only critters you have to watch for coming into your house. I've just seen a message from Paul saying, good job, we've got only top openers on the bungalow, or else we'd wake up in the morning with a seagull sitting on Alfie's head at 5:30 in the morning. It turns out at that time they like to have a party in the road. Yeah, seagulls are like living with those neighbours that don't understand what noise is. Then they happily turn up at stupid o'clock in the morning and go, wah, wah, wah. And that's one of the joys of living by the coast in Britain. And on top of that, if they learn that you can be a source of food, if you don't deliver on that, they will make it known that they are displeased. So you take the risk on that one with seagulls. Also in touch, PG31 Cat saying, I have to be careful of keeping windows open. Either local cats or a bat might try to fly in. Yeah, bats are one of those things I forget exist in Britain until I happen to be outdoors just as the sun is setting. And you don't see them just sitting there. You just get this little flicker of black or brown that just flies past you. And that's a bat. And he's like, oh, what's going on there? And then you go, oh, that's probably not a good thing. Or is it a good thing? Who knows? Also in touch, Sandra Owen saying, did Jenny get anywhere with the garden competition, Mark? Now, I do need to bring you up to speed on that one. If you're not aware, Jenny did enter a garden competition through the local In Bloom group. That was judged a couple of weeks ago now. And the problem is we're not going to know the result of that until about September, October time. So when we know, we will share the outcome with you as well. And talking about sharing, in just a moment, I think we'll do something a little bit different. We will share news of how you can cool down when you're flying on your jollies for your summer holidays. You want some tips on that? Stick around. We're all coming up with weird and wonderful techniques for dealing with the warm weather. I've seen all sorts of, get fans, get some aircon. Oh, if you're going to do aircon, do it with this, da-da-da-da-da. It's all too complicated. I'm giving up and accepting that global warming's a thing. I just need to get used to the higher temperatures. It's not working particularly well, but that's the one I've gone with. And I must say, I'm intrigued by this gentleman's idea, who was on a Ryanair flight and decided, it's getting a bit stuffy and a bit warm in here. And he took advantage of the engine blowing up. Well, not blowing up, throwing bits of it apart. It happens. It's one of these things that happens. And smashing the window open that then allowed him to lean outside. Admittedly, he wasn't choosing to lean, but lean outside and get a much cooler air blowing across him. I like the extent he's gone to. It's a lot of effort, and it seems to have paid off, but yeah, not good. I do hope he's in good condition after that. I hope that he's, seriously, I hope that he's okay. But it did get me thinking, if this genuinely worked, he wasn't injured, he was, strapped in, which is why you always say strapped in, just in case something happens when you're on a plane. I'm going to give it about a week till a Ryanair start offering it as paid upgrade. And I'll be honest with you, if they offered it to me, I'd think about it. And Sandra also in touch saying, in New Zealand, they have an owl called a moorpork. You're not pulling my leg on this one, are you? It sounds a little bit made up, if I'm honest with you. And it's called that because its cry sounds like it's saying more pork, as in more pork, more pork, more pork. Maoris believe the more pork calls before a loved one dies. I remember hearing it one night and it was very eerie. Or it's one way to find out that you're not the loved one. Let's not concentrate on that. I was out and about on my travels recently. I do occasionally get outside and came across a road sign that, I'll be honest with you, made absolutely no sense to me. And I've been driving for 20 odd years now. You know, I've been touring around Britain quite a lot. I've seen a lot of things, but this road sign just completely bamboozled me because it said Scotland's secret nuclear bunker. Okay, I understand what that means. This way. Surely if you're giving me directions to it, it's no longer a secret. And in case you're wondering why I was looking for it, yes, I was scouting out alternative accommodation should things go south. That's it for the show this week. Hopefully more of the same next week. You can join us at the same place, same time next week. Whether you're going to listen live Sunday nights between 7 and 9 on Mixcloud, where you can watch the show, or join us on a bunch of radio stations, or you can catch up on demand. The whole show available on Mixcloud, or you can follow us on all the different podcast platforms. Search for Wee Natter. And on top of that, we put things on YouTube as well when we're not getting in trouble with the copyright police. So that is available as an option. There's just so many possibilities. You just need to pick all of them so we cheat the stats and it looks like we've got a much bigger audience than we really do. That, and maybe tell your friends and family to listen as well. That's the cunning plan.